To be perceived is acidic. To be truly seen is to allow yourself to be vulnerable to the world, to expose yourself in such a fashion that it leaves you totally defenseless. Many people have a choice in this matter. Some of us do not. This is what Sloppy Eater is most concerned with, a game that depicts a vampire in a grocery store trying to acquire a steak for dinner. You may be wondering what I mean by this. Sloppy Eater is a freeware itch.io game with rudimentary graphics and an extremely basic gameplay loop. It's not the first thing you would think of when you think of evocative artistic work, and in many ways it is just a shitpost game. I mean, it's literally called Sloppy Eater. You're just a vampire who shoots your blood out at cops and wants to get steak. It's only when you realize the subtext of the game that the experience becomes a lot more interesting. Going out and being visibly trans is a difficult experience. There comes a certain point in many people's transitions where it's impossible to hide it anymore. There is a point of no return, a point where whatever identity you were before is no longer an option for you to hide as. Our identity is known to all. To be publicly and openly trans is a terrifying and draining experience in cisgendered spaces. Spaces that cannot hope to possibly understand, and oftentimes don't want to. The main plot of Sloppy Eater then is a very clear representation of this. The main struggle of the game is that you are a vampire in a grocery store, and every action takes part of your blood from your blood meter. When you run out of blood, you die. This is comparable to the anxiety one might feel as a trans person going through a public space, which the diegetic setting reflects well. The pressure continues to mount and mount the more you look for your items, and it eventually becomes too much for you to handle. The blood is the panic attack, personified. It doesn't help that cops are pursuing the vampire, a fascist arm of the state that isn't particularly fond of trans people. Vampirism and queerness are two ideas that are often compared. Many of the oldest vampire stories were either written by queer people or were just, well, homophobic. Sloppy Eater draws this comparison once more, depicting how it feels to go out for groceries when you're a visibly trans person. What seems to be a silly and kind of ugly claymation game is fascinating when you pull back the layers. An effective piece of horror, for myself at least. This has been Arcagent Everlasting, who finds it hard to talk seriously about a game titled Sloppy Eater, signing off. Thank you for watching.